Hello guys. Today I'll give you a brief introduction about Threadbuilder and Progress Builder. So before that, I want you guys to register to the Threadbuilder. I've sent a link in the chat. You guys can see, just click on it and log in through your Google accounts. And after you log in, just send a message in the chat key you have logged in. Yeah. So I'll just share my screen and walk through you guys about what Threadbuilder is. Just- Is my screen visible?
Yes.
So you can see the Threadbuilder, right? So just go here, the Threadbuilder. Now let's start with what thread builder really is, right? So here you can see some threads, thread A, thread B and stuff. And you can see some other widgets here, subthread one, interpretation one. So before I talk to you about what these widgets are in detail, I'll explain you why to use the thread builder, right? So first thing, what thread builder actually is. So thread builder is a metacognitive synthesis tool. What does it mean? It basically means that you're thinking about what you're thinking. It's like you're basically thinking about something and you're trying to interpret it in your own way. Now let's say you heard something in the meeting, and you write it down in the subthread. So the subthread is only meant for the writing stuff down, the stuff you hear in the meetings, right? So all the subthreads you can see here, it's what the speaker is saying, or if you're watching a video, what actually the guy is saying in the video, or what you're listening, or the concepts you're grasping, right? Just keep writing it down in the subthread. Now, what happens when you do this? Because while you're listening, right, and if you don't note it down, you can't trust your brain. You might miss some important concepts, right? So the main thing about the subthread is to write stuff down in here. And after you do that, here you have the sub-interpretation column, right? So what is the sub-interpretation column? In the sub-interpretation column, after you write all the stuff down, right? Now let's say you were in a meeting, like an orientation, right? You heard about some stuff like selective tension, echo chambers, confirmation biases and stuff. So these are some new concepts you heard, right? So write the stuff down in the subthread. So subthread is basically what you listen. Even if it's a new concept that you don't know, just write it down. Just write it down here. And if you have some doubts about the concept, right, you can ask the speaker, "Ki, what is the concept about?" Or you can just Google search it, right? So make sure that while you're in a meeting, just fill up the subthread column. Don't do the interpretation stuff, right? So interpretation is for later, after you get off the meeting, right? And just sit there and you interpret what you have written here. Or let's say selective attention decreases your focus and your listening skill. Now, this is something you heard from the speaker, right? So, what is the interpretation about? So, interpretation is about your own thoughts, how you interpret it, right? So, here are some stuff in the category. So, what is this category? So, it's the category in which your interpretation falls into. The remarks, sub-argument, a sub-explanation. Like if you're leaving a remark or some, like explaining what the stuff that's written here, right? Now, what's the process? So, process is something uh, that your interpretation contains about. So, what is your interpretation about, right? Is it an insight? Is it a counter example? Is it a question, right? So, category is something in which your thread builder, I mean, like your interpretation falls into. Process is something that your interpretation contains, right? So, after this, uh, you can basically add some more threads in here. The plus subthread button, right? So let's say you had some doubts about this. You asked the speaker. He tells you some new stuff. Okay, an addition to it, right? So in thread A basically contains selective attention, right? So you can add more stuff about it, right? Most about what you heard and then interpret it. So what does it do? You're basically thinking. What is your thinking? What's your listening? When you listen it, you think it and you interpret it. Means that you're thinking of what you're thinking, right? You're interpreting it in your own words. Now, what happens when you do that? Now, if you keep doing the thread builder, right, in a certain period of time, you'll just be so good at absorbing stuff. You'll be like a sponge. You'll just be absorbing everything. And this, the main thing we are pitching thread builder is because to remove the selective attention that you have, right? So, and also coming to the summary part. So what this summary basically, it should contain all the stuffs that you have gathered up, like just summarize it, what you have done in this thread, right? All your interpretations, what you got to know about something. If you like, if it was in Eureka moment, you learned something new. It was an answer, right? All the cat like your interpretation, you all write the interpretations right. So just summarize the stuff and write it in the summary, right? And after that, here you have select emotion. So this is the emotional state that you had while you were writing this particular thread, right? There are some stuff here like eureka emphasis, blissfully puzzled and spiritually determined, right? So after writing all, after finishing up writing, you can just go here and click on the save button. So when you do that, just it will just save all your threads out, right? So the first thing I explained about the metacognitive synthesis. The second thing was that it makes you a good listener, right? And the third thing, you're asked to write reflections, right? Asked to write reflections before every day before 11:30, and so now you can access your thread builders when you click on this binoculars icon here. Just click on it, and just when you can all just click on the thread builder stuff, and you can the latest thread builder will be here. Just click on it and you'll be able to access all of your thread builders here. Now, why is it useful? Let's say you're writing a reflection, you already have a draft ready. You don't have to write everything from the scratch. You already know what to write, right? Just pick it up from here and you can just write it easily. There's no need to write everything from the scratch, right? So I think that is about thread builder. Do any of you have doubts about it? So I think we can proceed on the POC part. Or do you have any doubts, guys? No? Yeah. So let's go to the TOC part. Yeah. So let's come to the TOC part. So here we have uh, the to-do, Garuda, self-row, right? So these three stuff, I'll explain about these three stuff. I'll explain also about the Sarpa, but it has some bugs in it. So we just go with the to-do, right? So first thing is, why do you come to the progress builder or the to-do page, right? So the first thing is ki when you know what to do, right? So in your to-do, what you do, just come here, just write what you want to do today. Like what you want to do. Do you have a goal? Right? When you join the meeting, you will have a goal in mind, right? Now I have written here. My goal was to create an MVP version of a conversational form and write some LD and SD documentation. So that is my to-do thing that I have to do today, right? And as you can see, right, it has a character limit. I can't go beyond this. Why? Because we want the to-do to be very concise. It should convey something in a very shorter way, right? As a description, you can add any description that you want to do. Like, let's say I have done this, deploying the MVP of the conversational form and working on the LDI and SD portal UX documentation, right? Just enter your to-do and description. Now, why is this important? When you do this stuff on the daily basis, right, you'll come back and reflect what you have done, how is your progress going on, right? If you go into the Garuda sheet, here you can have these stuffs. Let's say here are the timestamps from 5 to 9. I think that's for the evening batch. So here you should write key what you did in that particular time limit. Let's say key 5 to 5:30 had an orientation, right? And 6 to 6:30 you were in some room observing someone, you learned some new concepts, right? Let's say you were in tech lab, and you have to basically write what were you doing in these timestamps, right? These are the timestamps here. So this is about Garuda sheet. You basically write the timestamps here, what you were doing in the particular time. Now in the self grow, right? So this is where you write the reflection, the most important page, I guess, for the progress builder, right? So here your reflection should contain majorly three parts that are learnings, bottlenecks, and celebrations. You have my reflection here. So on that day, what were the learnings, what the new stuff you learned, right? So let's say you learned it was the orientation, you learned about selective attention, confirmation biases. You write those stuff in the learnings. What bottlenecks? So bottlenecks is something that acts as an obstacle while you do your work. Let's say uh, you're trying to you're trying to have a conversation with the intern, but you didn't have any you were having some issues, or you were not able to convey something properly, right? That comes in bottlenecks. So why do we write this learnings and bottlenecks? So that you can come and reflect again, ki, what were my bottlenecks and what is my progress on the bottlenecks? Am I improving my bottlenecks or not, right? Now celebration is something that you did today, something that gave you a moment of happiness, right? I said the MVP of conversational form with all required changes was ready and deployed, right? So basically, I deployed a product and I was happy about it, so I wrote it in my celebrations, right? So this is the reflection page where you write your learnings, bottlenecks, and celebrations. Now, why is this progress builder so important? Now, let's say you made some learnings today. There were some bottlenecks, right? So when you come back here, you can see what were your learnings and bottlenecks. You can evaluate yourself. You can keep checking up on yourself. Ki, what is my progress, right? Ki, have I improved? And also, when you improve on your bottlenecks, right, it gives you a sense of happiness. Ki, yeah, there's something I fixed in myself, right? So this is a TOC portal about, and yeah, I think that's it about the TOC portal. If you guys have any questions about this portal, you can ask me.
Before the questions, let me just
Yeah.
show you that how you can register or access these two tools.
Yeah.
Um,
Should I stop my screen sharing? Yeah.
yes. So once the link has been shared, you will see the screen. So instead of having to make a username yourself, you can just log in with your Google ID like this. Continue, and you will access the deep thought profile, and then
Yeah.
here you can access the different tools for deep thought, the TOC and the thread builder.
And if you want to access your thread builder, as I said, just click on the binoculars icon after logging in.
Yes.
So thread builders can be accessed even after the session ends, right? So yeah. So are there any doubts about any of the platforms, TOS, the progress builder or the thread builder?
No, no
No
doubt.
doubts on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, after going to the home page, where should I have to click to go to the TOC tool?
So once you log in, you can click on this home icon, and that would redirect you to this page where you can access all the tools that you want to use for the for all the DT tools. So this is the TOC, this is the thread builder, eagle builder, live classroom.
Actually, I'm having a different screen after clicking on the home icon.
Not sure.
Can you
Should I
in your link
share my
there is
screen?
yeah. I don't know what's the issue. Just in your link now, there's beta.deep thought. Just make it dev.deep thought. Right? It's beta.deep thought, right? Just make it dev.
Can you share your screen, Ananya, so that we can see?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Is it visible?
Yeah. So just you have the beta thing, right? In the beta.deep thought there.
Yeah.
Make it just make the beta as dev. Just replace it with dev. Yeah. Just click enter. Yeah. Go to the home button now. Yeah.
Got it.
Any more questions, guys?